Hey everybody, welcome back to Dubs Only. This is Tyler. Josh, what's going on?
What's going on, man? How you doing? On the road today. So
We're on
coming
the
to you
road.
from the car.
Yeah, it's a unique episode.
Back at
Josh, you're on the road. I'm at home with COVID. But hey, the season goes on. C'est la vie.
Warriors
Um,
win game 6.
uh that was an up and down game, but it ended up pretty good for the Dubs. 110-96 final. Uh Game six. Game six has always been kind for the Warriors, for the most part. For the most part.
Game 6, Clay came out in full strength, and it was just so fun to watch. Just going off what he had 7 threes,
He had eight
maybe
threes.
more. He had
He had
8 threes.
eight threes, 30 points. He had 8 boards. That's pretty big for Clay. He doesn't usually do that. 2 assists. That's pretty high for him too. I mean, I don't know. It's just something about like Clay is obviously like he has a special place in my heart, especially coming after these two injuries. Just to see him being back and doing this stuff again, like he has the utmost confidence in his shot. And sometimes he takes some kind of wacky ones, but
hmm
like when they go in, it's always like Clay, we love you. Keep
I
doing your
think
thing.
I think he's rushing some of those shots. Like you can sort of, I think they're all rushing their shots in a way. Like when they go for those, like they get that offensive board, like probably Looney's getting the offensive board this game. Uh,
Loon,
but
Loon God.
but yeah, it just feels like they're trying to get their shot off where you throw a pump fake, dribble, maybe do the extra pass and you'll get a better shot. But when it's Clay and Curry shooting, yeah, you're not gonna really say, oh, you should have passed that ball to Juan Toscano Anderson. Like,
Hey, no JTA slander allowed. He's a homegrown homegrown hero on the bench.
dunk, dunk contest runner up, couldn't even win it.
Oh man, you're cool. I totally forgot about the dunk contest. How just so rough that was to watch. But hey,
At least
All
we had
Star
some
weekend.
representation.
Yeah. Hey, Steph brought back the All Star game MVP. He had like 15 threes or something.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We
that
we
was his
showed
best
out. We
game of
showed
the
out in the
year.
All-Star game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But
well, from right from the start.
games
Yeah. What's up?
right right from the jump, I mean, it was back and forth. Came out strong, gave up some runs, but
Yeah,
sort of
I
what we
thought.
wanted to
Yeah.
see.
Oh, I mean, definitely the high energy start that the Warriors have been needing. It took them a couple of minutes to. Oh my God, not bad, man. This pop up ads keep playing a bunch of freaking music on my computer. The Warriors started off with Kevon Looney in the starting lineup, and I wasn't sure how much that would work out because we saw some of it in Game 5, and clearly nothing worked in that game. But it can mess up with the spacing a little bit because Looney and Draymond have pretty limited offensive capabilities. However, they just were killing it on the glass, and Looney showed out. He probably played the best game of his life.
He's on a contract year. He's been with the Warriors since he's 18. And you heard Clay in his interview post game. Loon is a lifer. I
Loon.
think he's I think he's integral to the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
I need the Warriors to resign him in the offseason. Even with Wiseman, Looney is the bread and butter of this team. He's the glue.
Looney is our glue man. I mean, he had one of the craziest stat lines I've ever seen. 4 points, 5 assists, 22 rebounds, 11 of them on the offensive glass.
And I
That's
think most of those were in the first half.
yeah, yeah. And there were probably a couple. There was that one possession at the end that really iced it, where he got, I mean, at least one offensive rebound to get Clay the wide open three. See him holding up the six afterwards. But yeah, right from the jump, the Warriors were
It was
hitting
just
their
it was
twos.
good to see. It was good to see the Warriors fight size with size. Like usually Warriors fight size by going small. This was a little different, and I was really impressed. We were still very careless. They were still very careless with the ball, tripling the
That's the
amount of
number one
turnovers
thing.
that they had. And I think, one thing Grizzly fans might say is like, oh, well, like if we had Ja, or like if these players made these a couple more shots, the Warriors turned the ball over 3 times more. You think that some of those turnovers don't happen. This game is completely different too. You're playing a game of what ifs, and it's fun to play those, but sadly your season's over and we're going to the Western Conference Finals. I don't know. I'm taking I was on the Grizzlies bandwagon, but this series has changed my opinion of them, and they're a harder team to support now than they were before this series.
Why you say that?
Just their mentality and how they play. It's aggressive and it's physical and they're cocky. I think it's good to be cocky, but they haven't won anything yet. So
yeah, and I've seen a lot of people call the Warriors cocky, and I'll agree to that to an extent. They can be cocky, they'll celebrate, but I think that of any team that's going to be cocky, the Warriors have some of the resume to do it, and like they had those 2 years off, I like to call it, with Clay out and Steph out and whoever out. We had the Kai Bowman, Marquise Chris year, Glenn Robinson the third year, and then
Alec Burks.
Finally,
the list goes on.
Yeah, Alec Burks balled out that season. But when we're back, we get back, we're healthy, and right back in the conference finals. It's like they're a different team now. I see a lot of them trying to be who they were a couple of seasons ago, and that may be the reason for all these dumb turnovers. But hey, the trash talk from the Warrior side is warranted because they've earned it. Like, they're the kings of the court, and if they can, continue this playoff run and win 8 more games, then probably a lot more trash talk too. And I'm hopeful. Yeah, but speaking of turnovers, you're so annoying. Every time they happened, it was like, it wasn't, the Grizzlies have a great defense. I'll give them credit for making things tough on the Warriors, but I think most of those turnovers were just the Warriors being stupid.
Miscommunication, trying to advance the ball too fast. It looked like they were just putting so much oomph on the ball. Like they were just like the adrenaline was getting to them and they just put too much on it and it was out of reach. Some of it was fumbling, like low passes, and they all seemed to come at a time where the Warriors really needed that momentum. Like if they didn't turn that ball over, it would have been a bucket, and then it would have been 2 more points, 3 more points on the board, and the momentum would have shifted, and maybe they wouldn't have had to wait till the fourth to finally take that double-digit lead.
It took them a long time to get that double-digit lead, and yeah, it was like they kept the Grizzlies in the game themselves. Like, they were underperforming, they were beating themselves. It felt like they should have been up more the entire game, but that's when you also need to give credit to players last night like Desmond Bane and Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks, where the hell did that come from? Like, every time he took a shot, I was like, all right, please, like, go ahead and shoot. Of course he scores 30 points, which is absurd because he was averaging like 8 per game for the series.
I think the broadcast said he had 32 points the entire series before that game. I mean, come on, but I mean, he came up clutch.
Yeah.
Desmond Bane too. hitting some key shots and some crazy layups.
Oh yeah, Desmond Bain I think he's an awesome player. Like I'm very excited for his future. And honestly, like yeah, the Grizzlies can be cocky and they can do this and they can do that, but I'm very excited for what they can do in their future because they have just a deep team right now, and they're only going to get better because they're so young. And Desmond Bain can grow into one of the best shooters in the game. I think he already is in that conversation. I don't know if you're the Grizzlies, if you keep Dylan Brooks or not. I feel like there are probably better alternatives. Of course, he ends the season with his best game, arguably, but I think overall he was a minus for their team. Jaren Jackson is great. Brandon Clark is a good talent. Zaire Williams is a rookie. As a rookie, played great. And of course, John Morant will come back healthy next season. It's just a question of they seem like two very different teams with Ja and without Ja.
Mm-hmm.
Ja needs to focus on his defense this offseason for sure. If Ja can not be a huge liability on the defensive end, the Grizzlies will be really tough to beat. And to have 56 wins in a season where they're still one of the youngest teams in the NBA, I didn't expect them to go out and win a championship because of that inexperience, but getting knocked out by a team like the Warriors is one of those villain origin stories. The Warriors have been knocked out by the Spurs and then the Nuggets, and then the Clippers, and then they began their dynasty years. So you don't start off with a win.
Right. And does that symbolize the end for the Warriors? I don't think so. I don't think we'll see the drop off like we did from some of those teams that the Warriors defeated on their way to greatness. But maybe that's what Spurs fans, Nuggets fans, Clippers fans were saying when that happened.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It depends on what happens the rest of the way for the Warriors, because like if they win a championship, I don't see like that kind of being the downfall of them. But if a team like, let's say like they play the Suns in the next round, Suns knock them out in like 5, and then they go on to win the championship, that might be like, maybe the torch has been passed. Because as of right now, the Warriors are undefeated in playoff series where Steph, Clay, and Draymond start every game. So we have yet to see them really get knocked out when they've been healthy. And I know, like we'll hear the argument, the Warriors haven't played anybody healthy, or they didn't have Love or Kyrie Irving, but I mean, the Warriors have no control over that. You just play it, and yeah. I mean, am I a hypocrite for saying the same thing about, well, look, they would have definitely beat the Raptors if KD was healthy or if Klay Thompson was healthy? Is that hypocritical? Because then we also saw in 2016 that the Warriors were dominating the Cavs fully healthy, both sides, until Draymond got suspended and Bogey got hurt.
Yeah, that's the argument that the losing team always has, right? You'll hear from Cavs fans, if Love and Kyrie weren't hurt in that first finals, the Cavs would have won. We say the same thing about the second, third one, that sort of evened it all out. But then with the Raptors, I agree with you. I think they would have won if one of them was healthy, at least forcing a game 6 or a game 7. Like
they were real close to that game 7.
Man,
play was going off.
I've sort of washed that out of my memory. Just forget about it. It happened, but I'm enjoying being back in the playoffs again and being invested in the performance. And while it is a more frustrating brand of basketball than we're used to, it's still just as fun.
It can be frustrating. It can be so satisfying to watch them play good basketball like we know they're capable of, like the last 6 or 7 minutes of the game last night. But there's just been so much BS that they've just been causing for themselves. These stupid turnovers over and over and over again. They like doubled the Grizzlies numbers that entire series. So if they can limit that and just like take care of the ball and slow down and like just play the basketball that they need, then this could be a really, I mean, they are a really good team. They're in the Western Conference Finals. You have to be a good team to make it this far. The season's a success, regardless of how you look at it, because they're already at this point. But
And
like, we're not going to be satisfied with this Grizzlies series being our last win.
And going forward, I think no matter if they play the Suns or the Mavericks, and if they go to the finals, a key thing is going to be Draymond's offense.
Yeah. I can't tell if you're frozen or not, but I agree. I mean, Draymond's offense, like we have seen so much of Draymond seeming to just not really look for his shot as much. And last night he took 14 shots, 3 of them from 3, none of them he made. But if he can continue that aggression, then that is all the Warriors need. And he ended up with 14 points. I can't remember what the stat is, but it was something like if anytime that Draymond scores more than 10 points, the Warriors record is the Warriors are really tough to beat. It shouldn't be that difficult, It's just start looking for yourself and play some ball. It looks like Josh is disconnected. So we'll see. I'll send him the invite again. But going forward, I think that the Warriors need to number 1, take care of the ball. Number 2, continue to crash the glass. The Warriors dominated on the boards. They had 70 rebounds as a team last night, which is the most for any team in any game of this entire NBA season, which I never saw coming because the Warriors haven't been that great of an offensive, not just offensive, but rebounding team in general. Looney's 22, Draymond's 15, Curry had 7, Clay had 8, Wiggins had 11, all the way down the board. The Warriors were just really aggressive on that front. Here's Josh. Let's see if he's able to get back in. We'll see. There we go, Josh. You here? Should be here any second now. But I think a question going forward is also going to be the health of the people on the bench. Otto Porter, how significant is his quote unquote sore right foot? GP2 still out for a while. What's up, Josh? You back?
Yeah, my phone overheated. So
overheated? No way.
Warriors win was too hot.
Yeah.
So we got the AC running now.
There we go. I was just mentioning the question marks for the bench going forward. We had no Iguodala, no Porter, no GP2 obviously last night. Kuminga didn't see the court at all. Warriors had an 8-man rotation. The only people off the bench were Poole, Damian Lee, and Bielitsa.
And he only played like 6-7 minutes.
Yeah, 8 minutes, 1 shot attempt, 1 personal foul.
I think, and we know that Iguodala gets reevaluated in about a week.
It's funny to
even
me.
Even if he comes back, he'll get some minutes, but it's not going to be like big impact. It's not going to be taking 20 minutes away from somebody. It's going to be 10, maybe 15 minutes.
It'll be interesting to see him get put into the rotation again because I'm not exactly sure how that'll impact the rotations. But
Damian Lee probably gets the boot.
Yeah, Damian Lee played 11 minutes. Those might be 11 Andre minutes, or split with OPJ or Kuminga if they want to go that route again. It was funny with Kuminga because we know what he's totally raw and a monster athlete, but you see the rookie jitters of a 19-year-old out there, and he
Right.
got busted in the starting lineups in games 4 and games 5. So I'm sure we'll see some more of him in the playoffs going forward. It'll just be a matchup question, but I want Otto back there, and Iguodala will be nice in spurts. I mean, he's an old man now, but just having him just on the court is always kind of a calming presence for this team. And just, I don't know, to be able to watch Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Iggy out on the court at the same time, like in the conference finals or in the finals, even if we get there, that'll just it'll make me happy.
It
It'll
just
make
makes
me
you
happy.
smile.
I mean, how lucky are we? How lucky are we to have like this awesome team in our backyard and just being able to follow them through an incredible run? Like teams that have made the conference finals 6 out of 8 years of all time, there's only like 4, 5, or 6 of those, and this team is one of them. And we get to call them our team.
And you feel so spoiled because of how great they've been. But you go back and you think about that Denver series and then that off season where it was the rumors of the Iguodala sign and trade, and like how that was like really the start of it all. To see Iguodala be healthy in what is probably his last season. I know he hasn't made anything official yet, but the injuries have definitely caught up to him this year. So to see him, be able to make another finals, maybe close out with another ring, it would be just so surreal to see that happen.
Yeah, that also just to like, I you always hear criticism for the people on the top. We hear a lot of it for Steph, his 0 finals MVPs, whatever. As a side note, he totally deserved the award in 2015. Go back and watch the highlights and tell me that he's not the MVP. But it's funny to me that that Iguodala was brought to this team basically just to be on the court in the playoffs. Like, let's keep him healthy for the playoffs, and then now he's hurt, of course. However, they're still doing what they need to do with him off. Maybe with him on the court, there'll be less turnovers. That could be interesting, but who knows? Just I want him back there. Obviously, I want as many people healthy as possible. But speaking of things I want, looking forward to the Western Conference Finals, I want Dallas.
Give me Dallas.
I want Dallas right now.
Give me Dallas.
Give me
That's
Dallas.
what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying. You're finally running the bandwagon. Give me Dallas. It's not only going to be a better matchup, it's going to be a more fun series. Luka Doncic is a pleasure to watch. He is a future MVP. It's just a way of basketball that we haven't really seen. And I think it's a really intriguing matchup with the Warriors because they don't have like any true like key star players outside of Luka.
No, their second option is Jalen Brunson.
And I think it's a good matchup for the Warriors. So I think they match up better against the Mavericks than they do the Suns. But also I think back to some of the Dallas games, like they've always been fun, close games.
High scoring
games, because you're not going to get defense from Luka. But
yeah, not much from our side either.
No,
but
so I want Dallas as well, and it's going to be hard to close out Sunday in Phoenix, but I hope they can get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting series because there haven't been a whole lot of tight games, and the home team has won every game. Mm-hmm. If Dallas wins tomorrow, that would set up a Warriors-Mavs series where the Warriors would have home court advantage. And what I've been saying is that the Warriors haven't lost a game at Chase Center in the playoffs so far. So one, having a better matchup, two, having home court advantage, and third, Dallas also just down their roster, they're small like the Warriors are. They play a similar brand of basketball that feeds into what the Warriors do best, which is get on the run and find their open guys and shoot it around. Dallas is definitely the better matchup. But I mean, the Suns are also a great team, and it'd be great to send Chris Paul home and just like end his career. But yeah, the Suns are kind of annoying, and they were the best team in basketball this year. So you root for, whatever's best for your team. And as a representative of the Warriors, rooting for Dallas.
And on the flip side in the Eastern Conference, you'll have Game 7 Sunday as well for Bucks Celtics. I want to see the Celtics come out of that, Celtics Heat. And then I'd prefer to see, just for the entertainment value of the Celtics, I think it's too early to look into those matchups and see what the Warriors would match up better. Because I think both teams pose difficult matchups, and you got to focus on the series ahead of you. But I love the NBA playoffs are just an exciting time.
Yeah, it's been great.
And it's good to be invested in it again.
Oh, totally. And to have a team to really support and get behind. And what's been nice about this playoff run is that it feels like it's pretty open. Like any team remaining could be the one that takes the championship. Whereas before, like with the Warriors teams with KD that we were used to, it was like, yeah, well, who's going to beat the Warriors? Which, was nice for us, but also it was like, yeah, I expect the Warriors to win the championship. This time, like, I want them to win the championship, but I couldn't guarantee it, by no means. So it's fun to watch it and have that element of like, what's going to happen,
But it was Game 6 was just fun to watch. It was intense, back and forth basketball, sloppy at times, but in the end, it got the job done. I think a key will be Draymond's offense and limiting his turnovers in the next series. He only had 4 turnovers, but it felt like 8. But he also had his most points he's scored all playoffs at 14. So
yeah,
I think that's going to be huge, because especially if a team comes in, if Ayton, if it's the Suns and Ayton's on Draymond, you're going to have to take advantage of the size and him sagging off there. A lot of possibilities, a lot of things to look into, which I'm sure we'll look into depending on who wins Game 7.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time. So let's make a prediction. So if the Warriors play the Suns, what do you think the outcome of that will be?
Warriors in 6.
6.
I
think. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
I say 6 because I don't want to give them 7 in Phoenix. The Warriors away from home worry me. And I think it's going to be somewhat similar of like a Grizzly series, but a higher brand of basketball. I think the intensity comes up. They take 1. They take 2. Probably. No, they take 1. I can't think today.
You think that if the Warriors play the Suns, that they'll close it out at Chase Center if they're going to win that series?
Yeah, I think they have to.
I think that series would go 7. And I'm really not sure who'd win, because the Suns are a great team. But, this is a Warriors podcast, so I'll say Warriors in 7. And then for the other side, if it was Warriors Mavs, with the Warriors having home court, I'd say Warriors in 5.
And I would agree with that.
That would be nice. That would be very nice.
And some extra rest.
Yeah, and speaking of rest, the Warriors are off till Wednesday for Game 1, whether it be in Phoenix or at home against the Mavs, which is exciting, man. There's another conference finals for this team. It's back where they belong, and it feels right.
It really does. And
Yeah.
our blood only gets more gold. Let's say that as we go through.
Yeah. Gold-blooded. Gold-blooded. All right. Well, we will record our next one probably after the game sevens, just to look ahead at the conference finals and go more in depth about the matchups ahead. But as for now, have a wonderful weekend, Josh. Enjoy Indianapolis, the city of dreams.
I will, and rest up, get better, and get ready for the Western Conference Finals.
I'm ready. I can't wait. All right, everybody. Peace out.